Hello dear students of class 10th, welcome to English class. I hope all of you are fit and healthy. Students, in this video, I am going to start with a new chapter from your English First Flight book. That is chapter number 7th, Glimpses of India. So this is the chapter that I am going to start in this video. See, as the name of the chapter says, Glimpses of India. So what is the meaning of this word glimpses, or what you called glimpse? What do you understand by glimpse? See, glimpse means flash or a very quick view of something. A very quick but not complete view of something is called glimpse. So in this chapter, we are going to see about a flash of India. See, as you know that India is a land of diversity. There are people having different cultures, different religion, different food habits, different clothing, different mindset. So this means India is a land of diversity. There are people of different cultures living in the same country. So students, this chapter is basically going to give you a brief review of the diversity, the brief view of the diversity that is there in our country. Trust me, this is a very interesting chapter, and I am sure that by the end of this chapter, you will be in love with this chapter. Very beautifully, it has given description about different places that are there in India. So students, this chapter basically deals with 3 stories. Yes, there are 3 stories in this chapter, in this one chapter. One is from Goa, the second one is from Coorg, which is in Karnataka, and the third one is from Assam. So these are the 3 stories that we are going to study in this chapter. The first story is a baker from Goa. That means the first story deals with Goan culture. You know students, in Goa, bread baking is very famous, and not only famous, very ancient. So the first story deals with the Goan culture, about the love of people for bread, the love of people, the people's love for loaf of bread. In this chapter, you are going to see different types of bread, different shapes of bread, and about the people who are very much fascinated towards bread and bread making. So this is the first chapter. After that, the second one, that is Coorg. Coorg is a district, a very beautiful, a very magnificent district in Karnataka. So the second story is regarding Coorg, regarding the beautiful place. And you know, Coorg is called as the paradise on earth. That means, paradise means heaven. So it is a beautiful, a mesmerizing place that you are going to study in the second story. And the third story is related to tea making. And the third story is related to Assam. Assam is famous for what? Assam is famous for tea. So the name of the third story is Tea from Assam. So these are the 3 stories that we are going to study in this chapter, that is Glimpses of India. That means it is going to give us a quick and a brief view of, or a brief review of 3 different states that are there in our country, about the beautiful diversity, about the people, about the likes and dislikes of the people. So I hope you got the introduction about the chapter, that what this chapter is all about. So this chapter is basically going to give you a review of India's diversity, different cultures, about the beauty of our country. Alright. So students, with this, let us start with the first story, that is a baker from Goa. And this story is written by Rocio Rodriguez. Alright. So let's start with the first story. So students, the first story, that is a baker from Goa. This story is about the culture of Goa when Goa was under the rule of Portuguese. You know, that time bread making was very famous and people used to love eating bread. You know, the bakers that time, they were very famous. Bakers means the people who bake bread, they bake cake, cookies. So these people are called as bakers. So this story is all about the bakers that were there and that are there in Goa, and how the people are fascinated towards bread making and bread eating. You know, in this chapter, the author also recalls about his childhood days. When he was a child, he was very excited regarding bread. He used to eagerly wait for the bakers to come, and so that he could buy bread. So this story will tell you about the types of bread, that the importance, the significance of bread in Goa. You know, in every festival, in every ritual, bread was considered very important. That means it held great importance and significance. So Goan culture is basically related to bread making or bread baking. So in this chapter we are going to see about the bakers, about their living style, how the different types of bread they baked, about the furnaces, about their dress code, and everything about bakers and the people of Goa. So I hope a brief introduction about this story is clear to everybody. So students, before we start with this chapter, with this story, let us see a brief introduction about the author, that is Mr. Lucio Rodriguez. So the author, he was born in the year 1916 and he unfortunately bid farewell to this world in 1973. He was basically a great Konkani writer, and you know, he wrote several articles in English and Konkani to various periodicals and magazines. And you know students, his way of writing was informal, and since his way of writing was informal, so the readers really enjoyed reading his articles, reading his stories. Alright. So now let's begin with the chapter, with the story, that is A Baker from Goa. So as I told you that the story revolves around the relevance, around the significance of bakers in the Goan culture, which dates back when Portuguese ruled over the city of Goa. That means this bread baking, this culture started during the time when Portuguese ruled over the city of Goa. That means this started when Portuguese were ruling the city of Goa. Alright. This shows that the Portuguese really loved loaves of bread, as a result of which they started this culture. This culture emerged in Goa. Alright. So students, this story is a pen portrait of a traditional Goan village bakers who still holds an important place in the society. Now what is the meaning of pen portrait? Pen portrait means an informal writing. The informal way of writing is called pen portrait. So in this story you will observe that the language is very informal. Alright. You can easily relate with the story. It is very easy to understand the story. It is not at all difficult since informal writing is done. So this is called pen portrait. That means informal way of writing. So this story is basically an informal way of writing which describes about the Goan culture, about the bakers who were there that time and still they hold great significance and importance in the society, especially in Goa. So students, the narrator starts, the author starts, and he says that many times he has heard his elders nostalgically remembering or thinking about the good old Portuguese days. Now what is the meaning of nostalgically? Nostalgically means reminiscing the past. That means thinking fondly of the past, remembering the past. So he says that his elders, they still remember the past about the good old Portuguese days. That means when Portuguese used to rule the city of Goa, and about the bakers and makers. That time the bakers were there. So his elders, the elders of the author, the author's elders, they keep on remembering the past, because according to them they were golden days, alright, when the Portuguese used to rule the city. The author further says that the eaters of loaves vanished, but the makers are still there. What does this statement means? This means eaters of loaves, that means who ate the loaves of bread? The Portuguese, they used to eat the loaves. So this means that they have vanished, that means they have gone, they are no more there, their existence is not there in Goa. But the makers of bread are still present. That means the people who make bread, the people who bake bread, they are still present in Goa. That means today also there are mixers, molders and bakers who are there in the city of Goa. Now what do you understand by mixers? Mixers means one who prepares the dough. That person is called as mixer. Then the second is molders. Molders means the second is molders. Molders means the person who molds the dough into shape. So that person is called as molder. And the third one, baker. That means one who bakes the dough. That is called as baker. So the poet says that the eaters have gone, vanished means gone, but the makers, they are still in Goa. The author further says that even today furnaces are still there. Now what do you understand by furnace? Furnace is an enclosed area, an enclosed structure in which materials can be heated at a very high temperature. So that is called as furnace. So the author says that even today the furnaces are there, and the fire in that furnace the fire in the furnaces have not extinguished yet. That means today also people love loaves of bread. The love of people for bread have not lost. It is still there. Even though the Portuguese have gone, they are not there, who were the ancient eaters of bread, they are not there, but still the people living in Goa, they love bread, which shows. And even so the poet is trying to say that even though the Portuguese are not there, but still the love of people towards bread making is still there. That has not been lost. Okay. So I hope till here points are clear to everybody. Then the author further says that even today the thud and jingle of the traditional baker's bamboo announcing their arrival can still be heard. Now what is this? You know students, that time when bakers came, so to announce their arrival, to indicate their arrival, they used to make sound with the bamboo they had in their hands. That time the people, the bakers who came to sell bread, they had a bamboo stick in their hand, and from that bamboo stick they used to tap that bamboo on the ground and a thud could be produced, and from that thud and jingle the people could easily the people could easily recognize, the people could easily know that the bakers have come to sell the loaves of bread. So that was basically an alarm for the people, so that everybody could know that okay, we have come and people can come to buy the loaves of bread. Alright. I think you must have observed the ice cream vendors or the kulfi vendors. They also have a bell, and whenever they enter any area, they just ring that bell, or they continuously are ringing that bell, so that the people could know that they have come, and so the people could come to buy their kulfis or ice creams. So similarly, the bakers also did during that time. They used to make thud and jingle. That means that they used to produce sound. They used to make the people aware that okay, we have come and now you can come and buy bread. All right. Further, the author is saying that the people who used to bake bread during that time, they are not alive, but their children are carrying the family profession. That means they are also bakers, they are also indulged in the same business, same profession, and they are carrying forward their family profession. And you know, these bakers, even today, they are called as peders in Goa. Please remember, this is important, that even today the bakers in Goa are called as peders. Alright. Further, the author says about his childhood, he says that during his childhood, the bakers, which are called as peders in Goa, they used to be his friend, companion and guide. So this is showing the bond between the people of Goa and the peders, how close they were to each other. As the poet is saying that the peders were like his friend, his companion as well as his guide. Then the author further says that the peders used to come twice a day. Now when? First in the morning in order to sell their bread, and second while returning after selling their bread. So this shows that the peders visited twice from that area. Alright. The poet says, the author says that whenever the bakers came in the morning, their thud and jingle sound acted like alarm for them, and that sound was enough to wake them up from sleep. And whenever the moment they heard that thud and jingle, they used to run in order to greet the peders. Now students, why did they run to greet the peders? Was that the love for bread? Was that the love for the loaves of bread? Or since the peders were like companion and friend, so that is why they ran? What is the reason behind this? See, this is not so. They didn't ran in order to greet the peders, or this is not the love for bread. This is something else. Now what is this? I'll tell you. See, actually the loaves of bread were not brought by the children. Actually they were brought by the maid servant of the house, who were called as the paskin or the baskins. So maid servant in Goa are called as paskins or baskins. Alright. So why did the children run towards the bakers? Because they loved the bangle breads. So we are seeing the second type of bread that was prevalent, that was very famous in Goa. As you can see in the picture also, this is very much like a donut. I am just comparing this bread, bangle bread, with that donut. So it is actually looking like donut only. So children really love donuts and all. So that time also the children, they didn't run in order to have that loaves of bread. Rather they wanted to have the bangle bread. Their love for the bangle bread attracted them, and so they used to wake up in the morning from that jingling sound, from that thud and jingle, and they went to buy that bangle bread. And in Goa, this bangle bread is called as kakon. Okay, this is called as kakon in Goa, and it is very sweet, very tasty, and children loved this type of bread. So that is why they ran quickly to see and to have those bangle breads. Alright, I hope till here points are clear to everybody. Now students, let me tell you something about the bakers. These bakers, they had a bamboo stick, a bamboo shaft. Shaft means stick, from which that I'm saying this again. Now students, let me tell you something about the bakers. You know students, these bakers, they had a bamboo shaft. Bamboo shaft means bamboo stick from which a jhang jhang sound could be produced. They used to do thug thug or jhang jhang. These sounds were produced from that bamboo stick, and they used one hand to hold that bamboo shaft and the other hand was used to hold the basket that was there on their head. As you can see the picture also. So this way, from one hand they supported their basket and the other hand was used to make that jhang jhang sound, alright, in order to support the baskets on their head. And you know, these bakers, they greeted the lady of the house, they said good morning, or they greeted the lady or whosoever came to buy the loaves of bread, and then whenever they had to sell the loaves of bread, they used to balance the basket on their vertical bamboos. Alright, so I hope till here points are clear to everybody. So students, we have completed half of the story of the and the other half will be dealt in the next video. Till then, thank you so much. Stay connected and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.